I'll take this in English since it seems I have the possibility to choose.
Please do.
Well, as both Tord and Gisle mentioned, IMR, Institute of Marine Research in Bergen and Norway, is an Article 36 organization, so we're on that list. And it is Annette Bernhard and myself who are the two that at IMR who have been involved in doing the work required here. How we got involved was via a former colleague, Josef Rassinger, who was in a panel for VKM and who is now working for EFSA in Parma. Next slide, please. And as Danica mentioned, this is one of the three consortia that, well, the other two, one is a single partner, but anyways, we can compete for these calls. And as Danica mentioned, this consortia that we're involved in is coordinated by ANSYS and also includes ARGUS, DTU, BFR, the University of Sally, RIBM in the Netherlands, VKM, ourselves, and Livsmedelsverket, the Swedish food agency. Next slide, please. So the project, if we can call them that, involve drafting scientific opinions for EFSA, specifically on food enzymes, flavorings, and additives, and food additives and also feed additives. And you've seen this, both Danica and Gorgias showed you that this is divided into 8 lots. And we expressed interest into the lots that we have the expertise to assist EFSA in drafting. So, and lots 6 and 7 are specifically for feed additives. Lot 8, in this case, the opinion assemblage has been done by ANSYS, and then the other lots have been divided upon among different members of the consortia. So previously, drafting was mostly done by the working group members. At least that's what my experience was as a former FEEDAP panel member. So now this is outsourced, if you like. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in particular, our roles, we've been involved in 2 specific agreements, the number 1 and 11. And so we've signed up with specific lots with our expertise, so Annette and I. So for specific agreement 1, which was on drafting opinions for 2 food enzymes, we were involved in lot 2, so that was identification and characterization. And in specific agreement 11, which is ongoing, well, from the specific agreement 1 opinion has been published, 1 is still in the pipeline. In specific agreement 11, there are 4 feed additives, which we have lots 2 and 3. We're involved in 3 of the 4 feed additives. We've also signed up for lots 5, which is dietary exposure, and also lots 6 and 7, so efficacy and safety, and lot 7, which involves environmental risk assessment of feed additives. We haven't done any work on those so far. When we express our interest in these, EFSA checks the declarations of interests and the CVs of all parties involved in each specific agreement. Next slide, please. So our experience to date, Annette and I, the deadlines are short. So within 5 working days, you have to update CVs, you need the DOIs, it all happens very quickly. And there's also been some challenge with the change of coordinator. There's been 3 different persons involved from ANSYS's side, which makes communications somewhat challenging. We've also had problems with accessing the documents with technicalities of authenticators and etc. And also initially we weren't able to copy or download the data. So the data provided for each opinion is basically access to the dossier, and it makes it rather challenging to write tables and to do the work without any ability to copy or download the data, doing everything online. But that's now been solved. Also takes time to get reimbursed since the lot 1 is still open. We from the specific agreement 1, we still so we still haven't got paid for any of the work we've done so far. I would like to highlight that we both Annette and I think that the dialogue with the EFSA's scientific officers has been extremely good. They're very helpful, and that works really, really well. It's a new way of drafting opinions, and it does require flexibility on all sides. And it's the communications routines are still being established. But overall, I think Annette and I, we both think it's been a good experience so far. So thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for inviting me to give this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne-Katrine. It's extremely good to have to-the-point feedback on ongoing project. It gives us valuable knowledge about what could be improved, what works, and this is new for EFSA, and it's certainly new for the institutions that are participating in this kind of consortia. Anyone have any questions for Anne-Katrine? Please come forward. Then I can't see any hands. We will have a possibility to have a discussion at the end of the session, so you can save up the questions for them. Previously, or before lunch, we were also talking about the focal points. We were talking about the tailor-made activities, the projects, as Carlos named them. I know that in the focal point network, we still use the tailor-made activity labeling, which is also a tool on how to address specific areas of interest now and also in the years to come. Elina from EFSA will give us more insight on this, and after Elina has finished her presentation, we will give another example of how Norway has been involved in these kinds of activities. Elina, are you there?
Hello, yes. I hope you hear me. I hope you see me.
We can hear you and we can see you. And
Perfect.
I hope that you can see the presentation.
Yes, thank you a lot. Thank you for invitation to participate in the event. And Gisle, you already did fantastic job in the plenary, where everyone heard about Focal Point Network, about activities that Focal Point Network is implementing. You made my work easier and shorter. And good day, everyone. My name is Elina Ceikure. I'm working in EFSA and in Engagement and External Relations Unit, and my main task is to manage the Focal Point Network. So I'm bringing together all the Focal Point members, observers, and working together with them. And today's presentation will be focusing on already known terminology, what we heard today, tailor-made activities that are kind of project type activities, and how using this tool you and we together can address weaknesses or prepare for new partnerships and risk assessment preparedness on different topics. I will talk a little bit more about tool and operational part, maybe focusing on items and topics that could be addressed, because it comes from member states and member states together and countries together with EFSA. So I don't want to put like any emphasis on any specific topic. But yeah, let's talk and see how we can use this tool to address different items. Next slide, please. And I will start already with something what you heard from Gisle about how focal point framework works. And there are this part called principal activities, that is core activities, where with what we define role of focal point network. You have heard and seen about these activities most likely, because first of all, one of activities we are here now organizing the events, bringing together experts and organizations. For sure, you have received information from your focal point on different opportunities from EFSA side, grants, procurement calls, and also at the same time you have received questions addressed to you from your focal point to provide to you to the focal point, like, I don't know, training needs or items what you are interested in, or information for risk assessment plans database. So these are kind of basic core activities all focal points are implementing. But then as things are evolving and evolution and new ways to work together are made since 2023. In the focal point framework, we have, together with member states, created new concept of working together, so-called tailor-made activities or project type activities. And these activities are focusing on exploration of new ways how EFSA can partnership and cooperate, engage with Article 36 organizations and beyond. And also through these activities, we encourage more and more partnerships, work together, member states with EFSA, and also countries among each other. So these activities, I have to say, already through these several years, actually 2 years, they are ongoing now. We see that there is also already a lot of examples that cooperation and partnerships are among countries working on specific topics of common interest. And what's important, of course, this everything is regulated by specific agreements, and for these activities, more involved partners can receive grants, and grants are signed under Focal Point Framework Partnership Agreement. This is very technical information, but it's sometimes very important information when we are trying, we, meaning countries, are trying to create groups that work together on activities of their interest and getting the grant from EFSA. These activities, as Gisle already mentioned before, are addressing member state and also including Norway and Iceland priorities and needs. However, they of course have to match also EFSA interests in most times. Proposals stem from countries, from the networks, from the Article 36 organizations, from the plans of countries on risk assessment, on scientific needs, on capacity building needs. So very diverse proposals can be proposed. And these activities are meant to build up long-term partnerships. These activities help to prepare for bigger risk assessment work. And these activities, what important, are choice-based, all-inclusive approach. So meaning that you are not forced to apply for the activities, but you are very much invited to propose proposals for these activities, to join already ongoing activities one way or another way, with grant or without grant. And really, activities are meant to find ways and topics where we can work together. And here, I want to say that, yes, I said that activities proposals are resulting after assessment process in receiving grant. However, there are also opportunities to join these activities indirectly without direct grant. And I would like to give some examples of this, how you can use these activities also without receiving direct grant. And I would like to ask Gisle to go to the next slide. And these activities, as I said, are all-inclusive, very flexible activities. These activities are meant to bring benefits for whole European risk assessment system, and even one country or just small group of countries are working on one activity. It doesn't exclude participation of other countries or using benefits or deliverables stemming from these activities. You can, for example, even not receiving a grant to implement this activity, you can still participate in networking events stemming from activity implementation, like conferences, symposiums organized by countries implementing activity. You can participate in capacity building activities, trainings, workshops, webinars, created and managed by countries implementing activities, but of course countries that implement activities involve all the community to participate in these external events. Also, you can be volunteer and observer during the activity implementation. For example, you find that there is some activity what is of your interest, but maybe you don't have like enough resources to fully participate in the activity. Or for example, you found out about this activity after it was already kicked off and the budget was finalized, and there was unfortunately no additional possibility to get direct budget to implement it, but you can always go and be a observer implementation of this activity. You can gain best practices, you can gain new knowledge and experience through this way. And of course, when activities are finished, deliverables, results, materials are available for everyone to use, reuse, recycle, to check on them, and to gain also additional information from you on the topic of the activity. And for example, there are multiple activities aimed to create tools for reporting, and these tools for reporting will be used for countries to report data, to support reporting data to EFSA. So there are really wide ways of interactions and wide ways to get out from these activities. Please, next slide. And okay, we have find out about what are these activities, how can we participate in these activities, so proposing activities and receiving grant in a case of positive assessment. Also, we can participate in these activities indirectly. And where we are with these activities, in total we have already funded 49 activities, these tailor-made activities. We have indirect or direct participation from all of member states, meaning and observer countries, and also pre-accession countries. There is a very active involvement of Article 36 organizations and beyond. And I just wanted to here to provide some examples of the activities to show the difference and variety of activities and topics addressed in the activities. Like, for example, we have very operational technical activities under the data area, like data flow mappings, that is addressing data needs, data reporting needs. We have, I think, activity, you will hear more about a proposal from Norway on NAMS, that is addressing capacity building and legislation on the topic of NAMS, that is very common interest of all the community and of European risk assessors and beyond. And then, for example, we have activity on European Excellence labels that is addressing, again, capacity building needs and training needs and the quality of trainings on the risk assessment. And these are just 3 of them, and longer list of the activities and all the activities. If you are more interested in this, you can always approach your focal point, and they will provide the list of the activities that are implemented or were submitted. And the last point, what I would like to bring to you, is about upcoming submission window. And after several lessons learned, finding out what works, what doesn't work, and where we would like to focus, we have put some small notes on what we suggest for proposals coming in 2025. And for 2025 submission window, we would encourage to submit proposals that are of new activities. We have several of activities that are repeating themselves, or its next step, but but we have encouraged that if you are interested in the activity and you would like to repeat it for the next year, maybe you need to find additional funding opportunity. And this comes together with first one of the first sentences that I said about tailor-made activities, that they support beginnings of partnerships, of bigger partnerships. We of course encourage also multi-countries activities, that bringing together more and more involved parties. We also, taking in consideration time and budgetary limitations, we encourage to focus on activities that bring quick results and has like smaller time ambition and maybe budget ambition. And we also focus on activities that really bring tangible and reusable deliverables. So deliverables that can be used by not only by one country, but by multiple countries around Europe. And last slide will be about the process, the timelines. So for the submission of 2025, and also that Gisela also already mentioned, that submission window will be opened in March, April, and all the requirements and dedicated templates you can ask to your focal point, and they will provide it to you. very important part is assessment, because assessment process of the proposed activities to assure the quality, to assure the fitting all the criteria of proposals, and it's done internally in EFSA, and also it's done by support of advisory forum trio and advisory group on data. So also advice from member states and countries is there. In September, based on assessment results, there is final prioritization of our decision done by EFSA, and for the proposals positively assessed and prioritized, agreements and budget will be available as of 2026. Thank you a lot. I think this is a good beginning of discussions and ideas, bringing together ideas on topics where you would like to work together. And I want just invite you to contact your focal point and advisory forum if you have any ideas, interests in on already running activities, and so on. And floor back to you. And I try to be in time, but I like to speak sometimes. My apologies.
Thank you, Elina, and of course, thank you very much for taking the time to come and explain this additional way towards projects than we saw a couple of years ago. So thank you very much.